Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Hmm.
Today, we're going to be talking about dopamine detox.
Yeah.
Now, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You're thinking bland oatmeal. You're
Right.
thinking endless meditation.
Lots of meditation.
But I'm here to tell you that it's really not about deprivation.
Right.
It's about understanding how this powerful chemical in our brain
Yeah.
influences our choices,
Sure.
and then learning how to harness it.
Mm-hmm.
So you are in control.
You have the power.
You are not
That's right.
a slave to your cravings.
Yeah. It's about reclaiming your focus
Hmm.
in a world that's designed to distract you.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
To guide us on this journey today, we are diving deep into Thibaut Meurisse's book,
Yes.
Dopamine Detox, a short guide to eliminate distractions and train your brain to do hard things.
Great book.
And so, yeah, I think it's important to start off by saying that dopamine isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, it's essential for survival. I mean, Meurisse calls it the molecule of more,
Oh, interesting.
driving us to seek food and connection and new experiences, which obviously is important
For sure.
for passing on our genes.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not about eliminating dopamine entirely.
Right.
But what does this molecule of more actually do?
Well, it's not really about pleasure as many people think.
Okay.
It's about anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
That excitement you feel when you think about that first cup of coffee in the morning
Oh, yeah.
or something else you're really looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
That's dopamine at work.
Right.
And studies show that, it's more powerful than the enjoyment of the coffee itself.
Wow. So it's the anticipation that really gets us hooked.
Yeah, yeah.
So dopamine is all about motivation,
It is.
pushing us towards a goal.
Right.
Even if that goal is just another, notification on our phone.
Precisely. And because that anticipation
Right.
rarely lives up to the reality of the reward, we end up craving more.
Yeah.
And it just creates this constant cycle of seeking the next dopamine hit.
So we're all on this treadmill, chasing likes on social media, refreshing our inboxes,
Mm-hmm.
always expecting some big reward.
Yeah.
But we end up feeling kind of empty afterwards.
A lot of times, yeah.
Does this sound familiar to anyone?
I think it's a common experience
Yeah.
in our hyper-connected world.
For sure.
Meurisse calls this dopamine hijack.
Okay.
And he argues that our brains just haven't evolved to handle this constant onslaught of digital stimulation.
That makes sense. It's
Yeah.
like companies are constantly competing for our attention,
They are.
using all these sophisticated tactics to keep us hooked.
Right. There's tapping into our brain's reward system,
It's amazing.
specifically the nucleus accumbens,
Okay.
which gets flooded with dopamine when we anticipate a reward.
Right.
And they've gotten really good at triggering this response.
The book gives some really interesting examples, like, those red notification dots on our phones?
Oh, yeah?
They're like mini slot machines,
They are?
just creating anticipation, whether the notification's important or not.
Exactly.
And then there's those personalized recommendations you see on YouTube and Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
They're not just suggestions. Right?
they're carefully calculated
Yeah.
to keep you engaged for hours longer than you intended.
I know. I've definitely fallen victim to that.
Yeah,
You start watching one video, then another, and before you know it, you've lost a whole evening.
absolutely.
So this constant state of dopamine-driven stimulation, it has to have an impact.
It does.
Our focus, our productivity.
It does. It hinders long-term thinking
Right.
because we become addicted to the quick hit of instant gratification
Right.
at the expense of deeper goals.
At the expense of the things that really matter.
Exactly.
So we've uncovered this problem of dopamine hijack. How can a dopamine detox help us regain control?
Well, it's not about, becoming a monk and renouncing all worldly pleasures.
Okay.
Think of it more as hitting the reset button
Okay.
on your brain, a way to break free from that constant cycle of stimulation and craving.
Okay, so Meurisse outlines a few different types of dopamine detoxes in the book.
He does.
Right, there's like that hardcore 48-hour complete detox.
Which is quite a commitment.
Yeah.
It involves cutting out almost all sources of external stimulation
Wow.
for 2 full days.
Hmm.
No internet, social media, phones, TV, video games, even music,
Mhm.
except for maybe some calming instrumental pieces.
Oh, wow.
And you'd avoid, sugary or processed foods.
Okay.
It's like taking your brain to a silent retreat.
I tried that once.
Did you?
I rediscovered my love for staring at the ceiling. But I imagine it can be incredibly effective.
It can be.
Yeah.
For breaking free from that dopamine dependency.
The book also suggests a more manageable 24-hour detox.
Right.
Right. Even taking a few hours
Yeah.
or even 1 hour
Even 1 hour
to consciously disconnect
can make a difference.
can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And then there's the partial detox,
Right.
which focuses on eliminating your biggest distraction.
Exactly. That one thing
One thing.
that really sucks you in
Yeah. Yeah.
and throws your focus off track.
That's a great option, I think,
It is.
for people who want to start small
Yeah.
and build momentum.
It's about identifying your personal kryptonite
Right.
and developing strategies to manage it.
So let's say you've decided to try a dopamine detox.
Okay.
What are some practical strategies from the book that
Yeah.
can help you succeed?
Well, Meurisse suggests a simple but powerful first step.
Okay.
Identify your biggest distractions.
Okay.
He recommends creating a cans and can'ts list.
So under cans, you would list activities
Yes.
that are aligned with your goals and your values, things that bring you genuine fulfillment
Right.
and don't send you down that dopamine spiral.
Exactly.
This could be spending time with loved ones, reading, exercising,
Yeah.
pursuing a creative hobby, anything that nourishes your mind and soul.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And on the can'ts list,
Okay.
you write down those activities that tend to hijack your attention
Yeah.
and leave you feeling drained. Things like endlessly scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows,
Okay.
or compulsively checking email.
So it's about becoming more aware of your dopamine triggers
It is.
and making conscious choices about
Yeah.
how you spend your time and your energy.
Absolutely.
The book also talks about adding friction
Yes.
to bad habits
Yeah.
and making good habits easier.
This is where a little bit of clever environmental design comes in.
Oh, okay.
Instead of relying solely on willpower,
Right.
you make it harder to engage in those unwanted behaviors.
So, for example, you could turn off phone notifications, delete tempting apps,
Yeah,
or even put your phone in another room when you need to focus.
exactly.
And to make those positive activities more accessible, you could lay out your workout clothes the night before. Or have a book ready by your bedside table.
Meurisse even suggests putting your modem in storage
Why?
to make internet access more difficult.
Really?
It sounds extreme, but it highlights the principle of making those distractions less convenient.
It's like building a little obstacle course
It is.
for those tempting behaviors.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
The book also emphasizes the importance of starting your day. Right?
Yeah.
Tackling the detox first thing in the morning
Okay.
before the daily onslaught of stimulation begins.
So establish a calming and intentional routine
Yes,
before the world starts vying for your attention.
exactly.
Yeah.
Activities like meditation, stretching, journaling, or simply reflecting on your goals for the day.
It's about setting the tone
It is.
for a more focused and intentional day.
Yeah.
But what about after the detox?
Right.
How do you maintain that focus and avoid relapse?
That's where the real work begins.
I was going to say.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a temporary detox
Okay.
to a sustainable way of managing your attention.
So what does that look like in practice?
Self-awareness is crucial.
Okay.
It's about noticing when you start to slip back
Right.
into those old patterns of behavior.
Reaching for your phone without thinking,
Yeah,
mindlessly scrolling.
exactly. And then gently redirecting your attention back to your goals
Right.
without judgment or self-criticism.
Right.
It's like learning a new skill.
Yeah.
You're bound to stumble.
Right.
The key is to keep practicing.
Some people find that turning off notifications creates more anxiety.
Right. So it's about finding what works best for you.
For sure.
Meurisse also emphasizes planning your day and identifying your most impactful tasks.
That's a great point. Not all tasks are created equal,
They're not.
right? It's about prioritizing the ones that truly align with your values and your long-term vision.
Absolutely. And then tackling them when your willpower and focus are at their peak.
That's a great point.
He also suggests developing laser-sharp focus,
Okay.
using strategies like choosing a specific trigger
Okay.
to signal the start of your work routine,
Uh-huh.
eliminating distractions, and working in closed systems.
Can you elaborate on those closed systems? What exactly are they?
Think of them as environments that minimize distractions and force you to focus on a single task.
Okay.
It's the opposite of an open system like the internet, where there's an endless stream of potential distractions.
Right.
For example, you're way more productive when you're writing in a distraction-free Word document
Right.
compared to when you have 10 tabs open.
Right. So a closed system could be as simple as working in a Word document without internet access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or using a timer to focus on a single task, or even just finding a quiet space
Okay.
where you won't be interrupted.
Meurisse argues that in our modern world, it's almost like everything is designed to steal our attention.
It is.
Mhm.
But we have the power to reclaim our focus
We do.
and direct it towards what truly matters to us. One way to do that is by cultivating what Meurisse calls here and now neurotransmitters.
Now, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about these neurotransmitters
Yes.
and how they relate to dopamine detox?
So these here and now neurotransmitters like
Okay.
serotonin, endorphins, and oxytocin are associated with feelings of calm, contentment, and connection.
Okay.
They're the counterbalance to that dopamine-driven desire for more.
So instead of chasing that next dopamine hit, we can cultivate these feelings of calm and contentment through specific activities.
Right.
What are some examples?
Think about activities that ground you in the present moment
Okay.
and bring a sense of peace and fulfillment.
Okay.
Meditation, spending time in nature,
Yeah.
deep breathing exercises,
Right.
connecting with loved ones,
Uh-huh.
engaging in creative pursuits.
Right.
These all boost those here and now neurotransmitters.
Mm. It's about finding joy in the simple things.
It is.
The things that truly nourish us rather than constantly seeking external stimulation.
And that's a key principle of the dopamine detox.
Right.
It's not about deprivation,
Yeah.
but about rediscovering those sources of joy and contentment that already exist within you.
Meurisse wraps up the book with a challenge. Commit to a 30-day experiment.
I like that.
What do you think about that?
I think it's a brilliant way to solidify these new habits and make them a lasting part of your life. You get to test out the strategies
Right.
and see firsthand how they impact your focus, your productivity, and even your overall well-being.
It takes the pressure off
It does.
and makes it feel more like a journey of self-discovery.
Exactly.
So to recap, we've explored the power of dopamine, how it can be hijacked, and how a dopamine detox can help us regain control.
Yeah.
But what stands out to me and what I hope our listeners take away from this is that we have the power to choose.
That's such a crucial point. We're not helpless victims of our biology or some algorithm.
Right.
We can consciously decide how we engage with technology, how we manage our attention, and ultimately what kind of life we want to create.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
What if the constant pursuit of dopamine is actually hindering our ability to achieve our larger goals? Those goals that require sustained effort and delayed gratification. What if by learning to manage our dopamine, we could unlock a level of focus and fulfillment we never thought possible?
That's a powerful question.
It is. Imagine a world where we weren't constantly bombarded with distractions, where we could truly focus on the things that matter most to us.
It would be amazing.
It would. It's an invitation to step back, examine your own relationship with dopamine, and experiment with the strategies we've discussed.
I agree.
Remember, the goal isn't to become a dopamine-deprived hermit, but to live a more intentional, focused, and fulfilling life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.